Hi, in this video, we look at how to bring SVG graphics into your FastHTML app. From the website SVG repo, you can search for different kinds of SVG icons and bring them to your FastHTML app. You can also use SF symbols, or if you like, you can use material symbols. We are going to show an example using SF symbols, but the process works in the same way by using material symbols from Google. So from this website, I have already downloaded this SVG. So I'm going to show you how to load this symbol using an SVG code in FastHTML. Before we do that, let's start with an SVG image using SF symbol. Over here, you can pick different kinds of symbols. Let's search for paper plane. So I'm going to select this one. Once we select it, we can control click it and choose the option copy image as. You can see here the format is set as SVG. You can change the size, but this is the standard size. So I'll go ahead and click copy image. Next, I'll launch my browser and paste the SVG symbol we just copied in Figma. So that is the one over here. With that selected, I'll press Command and zoom in. So once you bring the symbol here, you can export it in two ways. If you want to use the SVG code directly in FastHTML, you can go to the layer list and control click it and choose the option copy paste as. Then you select copy as SVG. Also, you can export this as an SVG image. In that way, you select the symbol and go to the bottom right and click export. Then over here, you set the format as SVG and export it. I have already exported this, so I'm not going to export it again. If I zoom out, we also have the React symbol. For the React symbol, we will use the SVG code instead. So in that case, you control click it and select the option copy paste as and copy as SVG. I have also already done that. So let's go to VS Code. Over here, I have the paper plane SVG I showed recently. So to load this SVG file as an image, we need to create a Python file. So over here, I have created sf symbol button.py. So what I did in this file is very simple. I created a button function, and inside that, I added the image function and specified the source as paperplane.svg. That is the file name over here. I also added this text string as the button label. So we can now go ahead and run the file and see what we have. So I'm going to run Python 3. So we get a link to open the app in the browser. I will command click it to view it. You have noticed from the top left, we have the SVG icon as well as the button label. So that is how you can bring an SVG image into your FastHTML app. Next, let's look at how to bring an SVG code into FastHTML. Over here, we select the parent container holding the React symbol and control click it. Then we choose the option copy paste as and select the option copy as SVG. Before we can use the SVG code directly in FastHTML, we need to convert it to fast tag. So first, let's copy this SVG code and go to the browser. We can use this little tool from the FastHTML team, convert HTML to FT. So with the SVG code in my clipboard, I will press Command and V to paste it here. That converts the SVG code to a pure Python function. Inside the SVG function, we also have the path function that determines the various paths. We have the size of the SVG, the viewport. We can also change the fill. To display the SVG in FastHTML, this is the code we have to copy. I have already done that, so let's go back to VS Code. Let's scale the terminal and select the file SVG view. Let's visit the previous file again. Over here, we loaded an SVG image. That is evident here because we have paperplane.svg and that is this file. So one important thing you should bear in mind is if you want to load an SVG image, you don't need to do any import after importing the FastHTML.common module. However, if you want to load an SVG graphic with an SVG code, you need to make another import. So let's go back to the file. Over here, you can see I have imported FastHTML SVG. If you fail to add this SVG import, you will not see the result in the FastHTML app. If I scroll down from the get method, you can see here we are returning the SVG, that is the React logo I showed previously. That contains the following paths: you have noticed that is the same code from the SVG to fast tag conversion we made. So over here, we have another SVG. That is the SF symbol. In the first example, we display the SVG as an image. We have the SVG code. However, we loaded it as an image here. But in this example, we are loading the SVG code with the same conversion we made previously. So I copied the SVG code from Figma and used the HTML to fast tag conversion tool. Let's see it again. So let's select any one of these. I will control click the group and select the option copy as SVG. Then we will use the fast tag tool and remove this. Then we paste it here. So you can see we have the same SVG code. So the values for the parameters here are the same as what we have in VS Code. I will press Ctrl and backtick to bring the terminal and run the file with python3 svgview.py. So you can click here to view it in the browser as well. So you can see over here we have our nice React logo and also the SF symbol on the right. Since the React logo is too big, we can go ahead and modify it by changing the width to, for example, 200 and the height to 200 as well, and see it again, and that reduces the size. So these are the two ways you can bring SVG graphics into your FastHTML app. You can use an SVG image as I showed previously, so that you display it in a Python file and specify the path of the SVG file, or you can use the converted SVG code directly, as we did over here, to display the React logo and also the SF symbol. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and wait for the next.